Jess the Ska Kid Scholar. I'm Jess the Ska Kid. We're at Palace Day, Sheila, those were all of the words at one time. And the Knights of the Round Table.
Give points. Josie.
And on the phone with us this evening from Seattle, Washington is Mr. Blank. That's where you guys say.
Hello.
All right, we're going to do quick introductions, your name, and what it is that you do in the group. And then if we're missing members, introduce them and what they do.
Awesome. Got it. Peter, you go first.
All right. Hey, this is Peter, and I'm the trombone player with Mr. Blank.
This is JR. I mostly just drop sticks and get blamed for shit.
You're the drummer.
Yeah, that'd be the drummer. I'm James. I'm the bass player and singer and all-around guy who wants the most attention. And we are the interviewees. I don't know if we're E's or Zaya, we're E's or interviewees. And then everyone else, so the people not present would be Franco de Flamenco on the tenor saxophone. We've got Michael Turner Anderson on the Bari Sax and also tenor sax. Sam Trowbridge is our trumpet player. We've got Kyle Lever on the guitar, and then Ryan Mays is our keyboard player. I think that's everybody. Is that everybody? That's everybody. Okay, all right.
So you are an 8-piece ska group.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, three of you, for wanting to do this. How about we'll start off with, how did you pick your name, Mr. Blank, and when did you form?
So I'll take that one. The majority of us used to be in a different band called It Gets Worse. That reaction right there, that name got a laugh like a quarter of the time, and like I hated leaving that one behind.
It fit us well.
It fit us really well because there was, the long story short, to like not get into the hairy details, like there was just some kind of drama that had developed, and when some people parted ways from one another, and we were just like, all right, like we're gonna just like rebrand because we don't want to like fight over the name, we don't want to like do anything. We just decided to like go forward, and we had we had a song titled Mr. Blank, and I threw that out as a possibility for the name, and we were like, well, why don't we do that? And that one kind of stuck. Like we had like 6 or 7 different names rolling around. I wanted us to be Horn Pub because I thought it would have been really funny, but like I was the only one who liked that one.
I like that
I really
too.
wanted Skunk Cock, but Seattle just doesn't really accept shit like that. It's kind of sad. But,
Wait,
yeah.
They don't accept things like that?
What?
I said they don't accept things like that?
Yeah, Seattle seems a little. It's unique. It's unique to say the least. But we formed Mr. Blank. How long has it been now? 2 years?
3. It's been 17 to 2 years.
God, wow,
Yeah.
2 years. It's so weird to like look back and yeah, it feels like it was just last year, like really for me.
all in all, James and I have been playing together for 9 years now?
Yeah, almost 10 years now, dude. It'll be 10 years in like March.
Jeebus.
Yeah.
Wow. So, with your current, lineup that you have right now, are all of these people original to Mr. Blank, or in those 2 years have you cycled through other people?
Just Kyle. Just Kyle. Everyone else was there at the founding of the band. Kyle, who's a fantastic guitar player and super funny guy, which is those are the two best reasons to keep so around. Dude, he's hilarious. But we used to have another guitar player, a couple of people in the interim. We had Ryan's brother Tyler, who's actually recording our album for us right now, and is at Iron Grove Studios in Issaquah, and is a wizard. And then we also had Aaron Cedarland, who was a guitar player of ours for a while. Aaron was with us for he went on tour with us, and he was with us for about a year.
So for Mr. Blank, being a relatively new band, how often are you playing out? I know that you've been on tour. Talk to us about where you've been and like, you know, the growth, I guess, that you've experienced from first being a band until present day.
Okay, you know, so I pointed at Peter, and he was just like, no.
Well, yeah, as much as I'd like to take this one, I didn't go on tour with you guys. The
That's
one time
true.
we've done a tour.
But Peter like handles the booking like a lot. Like he's kind of like the guy who contacts people. As far as like how often we play out, you know, like we try to play out at least twice a month. Well, yeah, at least like twice, sometimes 3 times a month. Like we played Hemp Fest this year. We did go on tour. We went down to what tour was like 2 years ago though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it was December of 2017. We went down to like LA and back.
Yeah.
We played Las Vegas, you know.
When this recording's done, we're probably going to be heading down either California or maybe out Denver direction.
Yeah.
Some a little bit of touring around, promoting the album, getting
Yeah.
out there.
JR and I met, so the band It Gets Worse had formed in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and like relocated up to Seattle. So like we kind of have been meaning to get back down to like Cheyenne and
We got a
Denver.
lot of Denver and
Yeah.
Cheyenne and such ties.
We got a lot of
Like,
people down there.
Yeah.
So what is the scene kind of like out there on the left coast?
On the like in California or in like in Colorado.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm calling you the left coast because like we're
Oh.
the Midwest, so Seattle to me is west. So that's
That's right. Yeah, I totally like spaced that you were not here right now.
I didn't know Colorado.
So you know, I don't know. Like, how would you describe the ska scene like out here?
I mean, it's a very niche scene, especially in the Pacific Northwest here. A lot of really good, you know, tread ska bands,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of soul ska bands, a few leftovers or reminiscence of kind of that moon ska, you know, time frame. You know, Easy Big Fellows out here, and they've broken up to a couple of bands here in the Seattle and Portland area. So it's really a lot of really good bands out here. There's still to be said with you know, more of the punk skas, you know, just a handful of them, but we're trying to, you know, we fit in kind of that vibe. We're a punk ska or, you know, ska rock type band.
Right.
You know, change it up a little bit, and you know, there's a lot of soul and punk bands that we play with out here that
Yeah.
really do good with the ska scene. So.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, that's a really good point. Like, you know, half of the shows we played have not been with like even other ska bands. Like sometimes, but more often than not, like like you can kind of like it's like you kind of just share, which is really cool. I think that's a unique thing to ska because like I think Simple Minded Symphony and like a couple of others like they do it the same way, right? Where they'll play with a soul band or they'll play with a funk band or just a rock band or a punk band or even like we had shows with like metal bands before. Like weirdly enough, like it can kind of fit.
Yeah, I mean that I guess, at least on my end, is what an ideal show is, because then you can capture more of an variety of audience. Like, maybe they're going to show up for that metal group, but they're still going to hang out because they have another band at the end of the night they want to see, and if you pepper in the middle a few other things they're not familiar with, you're exposing people to different music genres, and you're also showing, you know, unity as the way it's supposed to be.
Totally.
That's my. I was gonna ask, is it, you know, an inclusive scene, or do you find it that it's almost purists? Like, if you don't play this, then you can't fit here. So.
The middle of both. Yeah. That's how I would say the same.
It is the mixed, like really right down the middle kind of. Like, there is a lot of them like, oh, well, you don't play this ska. I thought you played ska, not punk or something, you know. And then, like James was saying, like other bands, we played metal bands that are just down with us, and you know, just punk bands galore. We played just like the soul, the funk, all sorts of bands. It is a big unity at that point. But then you do have the other side of it out here too. So
that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know with other, you know, ska bands that I'm sure either listening in or that you talk to, it's catching a lot of people with the nostalgia factor right now. Like, oh, I remember hearing that back in the 90s.
I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
We get a lot of that here.
Yeah. I like ska because I heard this one song and you guys are like, kind of like when you ask people, like when I don't know if this happens to you, but when I'm like, yeah, I'm Jess the Ska Kid. Oh, you mean like Real Big Fish? I get that all of the time.
Or Hoop Scott.
Who's Scott?
Sky? Yeah, what's Sky?
Scott, like that's a S-C-O-T-T.
Scotty doesn't know.
Yeah. I don't know who this Scott guy is, but I like this kind of music.
So,
What's this word that you're trying to say that you're not finishing before you say band? Like,
Yeah.
or what band?
yes.
Yeah, I've had a lot. I've had that one a lot.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing trying to explain this genre to people, and that their exposure might be just that one little, I listened to a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, or I watched basketball or something, and you're like, but it's so far more diverse than that.
Right.
So that was actually kind of going to lead into my next question, was as far as booking goes, how easy or difficult is it? Because now that we've gotten to interview, I would say, quite a large group of people, booking seems to still kind of be a difficult type thing. You have certain cities that just, it's almost impossible to book in, and then you have a city that 3 places will always take whoever.
And if you know someone, that's a good thing for you. But
So tell us about booking in Seattle and the surrounding area.
So I guess since we've kind of been somewhat of a band in the Seattle area for 5 to 6 years, we've at least made a few contacts where it's not too bad. Trying to get to some of the more prominent venues are obviously, if we even hear back, it's amazing, but it's not too bad here, and we do like to help a lot of touring bands out, who come through town as well. Actually, we're playing with a Midwest band next month, the Space Monkey Mafia,
From
yeah,
Minnesota.
from Minneapolis.
Uh-huh.
So it's hit or miss. There's some pretty good mid-sized venues that are pretty easy to work with around here, especially more in the punk scene. But they're very open to ska bands. But it's definitely, I don't know. We like to play a lot of smaller towns where there's just 1 or 2 bars in town that will put on music, and it almost is easier there because you're kind of the one gig in town that everyone wants to come out to see.
Right,
So
there's nothing else going on in that town or something, so why not come see the ska band?
Right.
Yeah. What was that place we played like out east that was like that?
Wenatchee,
Yeah.
Wenatchee Records in Wenatchee,
Yeah.
Washington. Yeah, it's about 2, maybe 3 hours east of Seattle, and they got a real good punk scene there. And everyone came out. And it's the one thing to do in town on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a real rowdy crowd. That's what we go for.
So with you guys being kind of located in an area where you could just go north a few hours and be in Canada, is that something you've ever done? Have you been international and crossed the border to go play?
They're just staring at me.
That's kind of a sore subject there. We're waiting on somebody to get a passport.
I got to get my passport. It's been the same.
This has been a thing we've been pushing for, what, 5 years?
5 years now, since we moved up here. It's been like, when do you get your passport? When are we going to Canada? Yeah, I got to get my passport. Like it's been on the back burner for a long time, and like I'm actually like changing jobs next week, so I have a day that's scheduled for me to actually go down and get that done.
But yeah,
We set goals and accomplish things.
2-hour drive to get to Vancouver. So once someone has his passport,
Oh, I know.
We've already got hookups and venues,
I was gonna say the
Band.
brass action.
bands, yeah.
Yeah, would you go play with the brass action?
I would love to play with the brass action. Dude, they followed us on Instagram for since we moved up here.
What's that? I think Pacific Sound System is we
Yep.
we didn't collaborate, but we worked with them to get a song on I think it's Pacific Sound.
That's right. Yeah.
So that, I know Brass Action put that together. It's a great compilation of Northwest bands.
It is. We played that when they interviewed with us, and it was like such an awesome mix. It was very enjoyable. So go get your passport.
I will. I promise. I'll get my passport.
All right, because you're going to be held by the power of capturing image via camera on the internet. What day is it you have off to go do that so your bandmates can bug you if you don't?
Yeah, Jen.
Put it on the record.
For the record.
My days off are Thursday and Friday of next week. That would be the 26th and 27th. Wait, 25th and 26th. 26th and 7th. Look, it's Thursday and Friday of next week. I'll get the goddamn passport.
Go get your passport. It's not that hard, right? You go.
We did this interview years ago.
So with that kind of being said, and we've covered now, hopefully, hey, maybe the goal will be within a couple months you'll be in Canada then, eh?
Yeah, sure. Right out there.
What kind of tours have you done? I mean, you touched upon going to Canada, or not Canada, sorry, we're just going to keep accidentally saying that. California.
Sorry.
And you know, Nevada and such things, Wyoming.
Arizona, yeah.
Where else have you been, and do you ever plan to come this way?
I mean, so we've been to, Oregon and California and Las Vegas and Arizona, and even in the early, it gets worse days, we've been to Utah,
Colorado.
Frank always says he doesn't trust going anywhere east of I-5, but
That's like
look,
most of the
really,
U.S.
My desire would be if we could make it work, if we could go out, even if we flew out somewhere, my dad lives in Missouri, so I know he would love to see us, and if we had a way to fly out and borrow instruments or some shit, I would love to go on tour in the middle part of the heartland of the country, because I want more people to hear us.
Peter here is actually from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We've got a couple people from East Coast. We got a couple ties there, so it would be good.
Sam lived in Minneapolis for a little bit there.
That's right. Yeah, Stan lives in Minneapolis, and he's from Montreal, I can't remember if he's
I don't know, Canada.
He's from Canada. Canada. It's not like it's an enormous country.
And when you get your passport, you can actually go there.
I will. I like all the stuff they have there.
I like their beer.
Their syrup's good.
I like it. Yeah.
We're drinking. Shout out to Collective Arts, because they're a brewery in Canada, Ontario, and they kind of do what we do with music with beer. They brew and make their own beers, and then they work with music and art, and they put featured artists on each one of their beer cans and then link all of it back so you can go find it. It's really cool. And because you're going next week to get your passport, you could go to their website and then enter in to do their music fest, because they do this giant music fest in the spring to release a bunch of their new batched beers, and it's all focused on independent music.
They have pop-ups.
Dude, hey, badass.
Way off.
Definitely, yeah, I'll get with you to send me the name of that, because we got to do that.
I forgot, I don't have my notepad tool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Also, if you do think about venturing, into, I don't know, the heartland, I'll put air quotes on that, the Midwest, or the Plains, Texas would probably be very beneficial for you all to try to go down to, specifically Ska by Ska West. Do you know about this music festival?
Yeah, and we know Scott by Scott was.
Mosca played it They played it last year, I think.
Yeah, Matt Mosca did, right, and Eric Danos from
Denton,
Texas as well. He's from Denton, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a big thing too. There's so much more world out there. You guys are pretty in an awesome spot. I'm not gonna lie. We want to go to the Pacific Northwest because I want to learn how to climb trees like that. Just kidding. There are certain niche groups within various parts of the U.S. now that ska is kind of becoming more of a thing. So.
Oh yeah, it's popping up a lot more. Like Peter was saying earlier, a lot of the nostalgia's coming back, and people just want to feel it again or something.
Right? Yeah. I think Generation Y like really has like a nostalgia factor. Like, oh man, you remember? Like, it's in all the memes. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that there is a driving force. Like, I think you're completely right. Like, the nostalgia is a really strong driving force in the ska. Like, I don't want to be that guy who calls it the fourth wave, but like it feels kind of like it, man. Like people are like starting to pick up more on it.
Well, if we wanted to get really ridiculously critical about waves, it'd probably be a fifth one, because the fourth one could kind of be accredited to the 2000s, early 2000s ska that came out specifically with bands on or in California.
Got that. Okay.
Yeah, first wave being from the 50s and early 60s in Jamaica, and then the 70s is two-tone, so that would be wave 2. Third wave would be the 80s when it came here, and you had the development of bands like the Sweazea and the Toasters and Moon Ska, and then fourth wave they accredit to like late 90s, early 2000s out, yonder.
Okay. Number 5 here, boys.
I mean, it's interesting because the people we've gotten to meet now, even though they are nostalgic about it, they're still adding their own flair. And so, like flipping the combined effort, they identify themselves as ska adjacent because they mix in a lot of jazz and hip hop and rap into their, vocal styling. So
That's what's up. Yeah.
it's cool. They're from Denton. You should check them out.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely will. I would say that we're close to ska adjacent. Like,
Yeah, we're
there's things we do
a
there.
lot of rock, just not really so much upstroke and
Not all the time,
package, all the time. Yeah.
There's lots of ska in all of our music, but I wouldn't necessarily even call us like strictly ska.
No, and there's a couple of the songs you can tell that have the kind of that Wyoming background.
Yeah. We have some songs about smoking weed, and it's like a Western song.
ooh.
So it's like it's one of the ones that you'll hear on our Bandcamp. It's called the Iron Lung, and it's like Western derived because we were lived in Wyoming.
I've heard people call it spaghetti western.
Yeah, spaghetti Western ska.
That's awesome.
Like I crack a fucking whip on stage for it sometimes.
That's really cool. So, I mean, talk a little bit about that. What's it like playing ska in Wyoming?
JR. Okay, so right. Peter just sat back. I have no fucking idea.
It can get rowdy.
Yeah.
There's tons and tons of shows that they were great. There was, it is an awesome scene, but there's this one particularly that I gotta kind of share. It was about a 3-hour drive. It was a Halloween show. We make it up there, and it is like this old bank. It's pretty much a ghost town. There's one cop between 3 towns, and he's not gonna bug us all freaking night, right? So Shoshone, Wyoming. So we roll in there, and it's this bank that he was turning into a tattoo parlor, but it was still under construction. There was like a dirt basement where the vault used to be, where we was all going and smoking weed and everything.
There's like a tunnel. There's
Yeah,
a
it was
tunnel
like a
underneath.
tunnel.
And there's everything was blacklit. It was all these weird colors, and people were dressed in I swear to God, it reminded me of being in a Rob Zombie movie.
Kind of, and there had to have been, at least 2 of those small towns worth of people there. And we was just, like I said, free to go. The cop was not going to come bug us.
The dude downstairs shooting a pumpkin with a revolver.
Yeah, after the show was over, he's down there shooting pumpkins and revolvers and everything. And they was giving us weed-infused Jello shots of some strange concoction they had.
It
was
was
a moonshine
yeah.
of THC infused moonshine. Of
Yeah,
some sort.
it was like snake venom, like a little like drop, and you were good to go. Like you couldn't, I couldn't take like a full shot of that, or you just die. Like it was moonshine.
And then to top the night off, we got to crash there at least. That was kind of nice.
On the floor.
But on the we'll say somewhat less desirable sleeping areas on the floor. But after that, I had to get up in about 2 hours sleep and take James back to Cheyenne to go back to work.
Yeah, I had to work the next day.
So
Yeah,
it was one of those shows that just kind of sticks out in my memory.
but like other shows that we've done in Wyoming, like they're right. It's kind of like what we mentioned earlier, where people are just like, you're a wet band. Where like people just don't hadn't heard it before. Because look, there's a lot of every other show that you go to in Cheyenne is either death metal or country. And so like you'd actually have to we played a place in Rock Springs, Wyoming, the Rock Bottom, and people were coming up and being like, "You don't know how to play any Garth Brooks?" Like, no, we don't know how to play any Garth Brooks. At that time, we did learn a Garth Brooks song, but we never played it. So.
Wow. I mean, at least you're trying to appeal to the audience, right? Is that why you learned a Garth Brooks
Look,
song?
man, Real Big Fish said to sell out, so sometimes you can. It's okay. We're adults here.
I mean, if the...
My soul's for sale.
That sounds like a pretty awesome experience. How easy or difficult is it trying to get 8 people to practice and then to play shows at the frequency at which you are?
Yeah, so how big is our room? We rent a room out here.
10 by 12, I think.
It's a little 10 by 12 room, and I don't know if you have access to seeing pictures. The JR's got a pretty sizable kit. Like a lot of ska drummers do pretty bare bones, like a little 4-piece. JR has I don't know how many pieces that.
It's actually a 6-piece with
8 cymbals. Yeah. Like he's got a custom rack and shit for it. It's like a mini Neil Peart.
Wow.
And then we cram 7 other people in there and a refrigerator for beer and water.
And moonshine.
But we played tons of shows where we're just we're not all gonna fit on this stage.
The drummer and one person fits on stage. Everyone else is next to the bar.
Everyone else, yeah, right. Yeah, we've had shows like that. And it's a challenge. I mean, the biggest thing, honestly, is organs. Like Peter would even, I bet, agree, is scheduling with 8 people. That's tricky.
Oh yeah, it's like herding cats. As long as we get 6 out of 8 is what we go for.
Yeah.
How often are you practicing? Do you guys have an established day? Sundays from 2 to 4, we're gonna do this.
We're Mondays and Wednesdays. Right now, JR is working on his house, so JR is not with us on Wednesdays right now, but he will be soon, goddammit. But
as soon as you get that passport.
We do Monday, Wednesday from 6 to 9.
Wow.
Go on, Mike.
Are you shooing
My
a
dog
dog?
wanted to do an interview.
What?
My dog was just that's why I was just telling the dog to go on. He wanted to be in the interview too, apparently.
Yeah, our cat's sitting on our table, so he's in the center of our table. He gets to be on the
There's a lot
show.
quieter than James's dog.
Yeah, I've got a bulldog, so it's like having a little fat drunk man that lives with me.
I can imagine that. So you guys practice on Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 9, like you said, and within that time frame, are how do you come to write music? Does somebody take the lead and say, all right, I have this riff idea, this is how I want you guys to sound, and you make music around that? Do you all come to the table with varying parts? Tell us a little bit about your writing process and how Mr. Blank creates music.
So right now, with a lot of our music, there's a few songs that we have that either I had from another band or that we'd collaborate, we'd throw something in and be like, I kind of want it to sound like this. right now, there's a great big chunk. I would say like 70% of our music right now, maybe a little less, but about 70% of our music is Frank, who's the tenor sax player. Frank is like,
He cranks them out, man.
dude, like, yeah, like he could just be, you could tell him, it's like, hey man, can you write a song? And be like, yeah, sure, I'll go do that right now. Like, Frank's just like crazy talented. Like, I still sometimes wonder like why the hell he's been showing up for 5 years. But it's like he has a good time and like we get along with him. Like Frank's awesome and he writes good, like super catchy music. So we've been doing that, like especially with our album getting done, like being tracked. Like we're talking about like, all right, like let's actually sit down and like let's have some jam days. Let's have some days where we sit down and like decide what we want to do. Because like as great as Frank's music is, we also want to be able to, to have other voices in the band and like, not just be, what's the word I'm looking for, right? Like just not have one person cranking out everything. Frank writes great music and like, we all have something to contribute.
Exactly. Little variety, little.
But I think in general our band does a good job of just kind of delegating different tasks. Right now Frank is one of our key, I'd say between him and James, key music writers. We have, myself, I take care of a lot of the booking. This is Peter. James does a lot of our social media, so we like to break up tasks within the band. So.
And with 8 of us, like you get to delegate a little bit. I'm like, you be in charge of this thing, and then some people aren't in charge of anything, and that's okay. Like they're, they make that sexy music. You know what I mean?
I picked up that delegation was happening, just the way that this has been going, and I think that's super great. Because most often you find, or at least from our experience right now, there's usually one controlling force in the group. They book, they do the social media, this is their thing, they want it to be a thing. Their band members can contribute by like being there and showing up on time. And so does it make it then less stressful, you'd say, that other people are helping and making it more of a whole band effort?
Extremely less.
Tremendously less stressful.
That was kind of our dynamic for a while, and
that's really challenging.
It is, and it led to bad things. So.
Yeah, that led to right. Like we don't want to go into a lot of that, but right. Like it, when one person is running the show, like it's I don't know. It's not. It doesn't feel balanced because then it's like you might even. It might even occur to you like if someone's a boss, and it's like that can work for some people, but like I think that it works better for everybody that's in the band right now. That things are delegated, and that things are
everybody has a say, everybody has an opinion.
Yeah, everything's taken. Like it's I like to think that it's pretty democratic. And not to say that it wasn't before, it just looks different. Like that's what I'd say that it's like tremendously less stressful.
That's wonderful. You want to talk about your music? Like more about your music? So I know of you having 2 albums and a single on Bandcamp, correct?
It's actually 2 singles and 1 kind of album on Bandcamp.
Okay.
It's like a demo EP, right? It's we call it smoke break because it takes about as long as a smoke break. I mean, if you're smoking like a couple of maybe American spirits.
We'll test this theory during our no.
Go ahead.
I said we'll have to test that theory.
All right, do it. As long as it's the blue American spirits.
Yellows.
Anyway.
Yellows.
But so the songs that we have online right now, there's 4 that were on the EP. 3. That's right. There were 3 that were on the EP. That was Mr. Blank, Apathy. Mr. Blank, in addition to Apathy, we always just call it Apathy, like in band practice, and The Iron Lung, which is just chapter 1. We actually have a sequel to Iron Lung, but we are planning on coming out with like a trilogy EP of like the Ballad of Iron Lung. And then we have we have 2 singles. That's Why Work and Go Doctor. Both of those were written by Frank. And then we have an upcoming album that we're like finishing horns like Saturday.
This weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. Like we're tying together a lot of that, and then like just tying together a couple of loose threads, and then it's going to actually just get mixed, mastered, and we're planning on releasing probably January of next year. But yeah, like we're super excited. Like everything's sounding really good on it, and like we're having a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah, we played Go Doctor on Tuesday night as the sneak peek for this one, and it's super fun. And for those who are watching and tuning in, that was just released in January, correct?
Yeah. Well, that's January.
So how often do you try to get into the studio? Because it looked like 17, 18, and 19 you kind of did things. So like that's steady progress. Like how does recording go? Have you used the same person and the same studio? After you are finished recording, are those tracks given to you and you get to kind of send them off as you would like to, or how does that work? Tell us about that.
So,
Lots of questions.
We recorded Smoke Break. That's another whole story in and of itself. Because some of those recordings, like, were actually done at a studio that's not a studio anymore, and we like carried all the it was a whole big weird mess, and we took it to a recording studio like north of Seattle, who did they did pretty well with it. All things considered.
Patched it together.
Yeah, they patched it together. Like they put together what they could out of what we had. And it was okay. It's not my favorite, it's not my favorite sounding, but it's also that I think that's just
it's a good demo though.
yeah, it's a good demo, and I think that's a paradigm that you enter anytime you release music, is you go, oh man, I don't play it exactly like that anymore. I don't like the way this sounds. Like I think that's just easy to land on that. We recorded Go Doctor with Mike, who's our Bari Sax player, and he's also a sound engineer and like a damn good one at that. We just were like, hey, if we have you like record a single for us, like you don't have to pay rent for 2 months. And he was like, sure. So like he works at a live audio company in Seattle that does like a lot of big shows. So he just like took us to this giant warehouse where we recorded, and we just went there for a day and fleshed that out.
They got a great sound being in a warehouse, not in a studio too. You get that, large, almost like a larger stadium sound, especially when you listen to the drums, how they, almost echo.
Mm-hmm. And then we did Why Work with Tyler, who is Ryan's brother, at Iron Grove Studios, and we really liked the way that sounded. It was also more like the time would have worked out for him to record it more than it would have with Mike. So we were just like, dude, like we'll have Tyler do our album, and he's been piecing it together, and it's like it sounds great. Like he has a real
studio is awesome too. Like it's out in the middle of the woods, sort of,
in a log
cabin,
Ooh.
and you're out there where you don't have any sort of distraction unless you're, distracted by deer and bear, etc. But it's sweet. I mean, it's one of the better studios I've actually been to. So
yeah, and he makes it like look, he makes us sound good. He makes us sound really, really good. And he's like super easy to work with. And like he'll, when you get into the studio, a lot of times like you find out like, oh shit, we've been playing that this way, but it doesn't work when you put it on a click. So we got to figure that out. Or you hear that there's a harmony that's out of tune, and you're just like, damn, like we've been singing it like this for 6 months. So like it's super beneficial to like be in the studio, and like he has good input too. Like he'll be like, hey, I don't think this is working. Like, you want to hit a different note? Like, something doesn't sound right. But like, yeah, he's been an awesome engineer to work with.
How long has it been taking you guys to record this new album?
We just started in August. I think we did a weekend for the rhythms. Finished the weekend for the vocals, and we got another weekend coming up for miscellaneous horns, keyboards, so
Sound effects.
So
Stupid shit.
it's just a few months in the making right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. So total time from like when you decided to start this to when you release it, are you thinking, what does that look like? 4 months, maybe?
I don't want to put a timeline on it right now.
Oh.
I'm anticipating.
Hopefully not more than a few months.
Right. Like, I mean, from time of like, starting to record or like booking until until it'd be released, it would be like maybe 6 months.
That would be ideal if we could hit 6 months.
Yeah, if we could hit 6 months, that would be like January that it would come out. I'd really like to make that happen.
Hey,
you know, it's just me.
gotta get that passport first, though.
She's really trying to get it.
I know. Put it on your passport.
Yeah. We're from Seattle. We don't commit to
That's right. Yeah.
times and.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what's up, man. We'll see what's up when we feel like releasing it. I guess. I don't know. That's Seattle.
Here's a question. So, has your music been played anywhere else besides what we're going to do later on in this show? Have you sent it to radio stations? Have you, had it played on other podcasts, that sort of thing? Like, how have you been marketing and, promoting your music?
So, do you want to take that one, Peter?
Yeah, so we've, we got it on a couple of compilations.
Yep.
Like we talked about earlier, the Pacific Sound System compilation. I think we got it on the What Do You Know About Ska Punk,
Yep.
Volume 3 and Volume 1, or maybe 2.
2 and 3.
Yeah, we got two of the 3 What Do You Know About Ska Punk compilations, as with, all the other 140 bands.
We've been on the 23 Minutes of Ska. We've been on who was it? Ska Bob. Ska Bob. We've been on one. I can't remember his name, but a friend of ours, a friend of the band, Steve Sigo. No, that was when we were at Gets Worse. So no, that doesn't count necessarily. Once we have, I've sent it to a couple of radio stations, but I haven't actually heard if they've played it. I don't know, just like around Seattle. Like that's a big one I'd like to have once we actually have the album. Like I'd like to send it to different radio stations in Seattle and like get that played. We've been meaning to take initiative to go and talk to it's like Band in Seattle. It's like a TV show.
Bands in Seattle.
Like online and like you can
Yes.
go and just like play your music for them. We have a couple of band friends who've done that.
It's really cool. It's a really cool show.
I think that's my reason.
Oh, that covered it.
Was that it? That's the end of the conversation.
That's everything we've done so far because it's like it's hard to you can't really like advertise.
It depends. Well, it depends on how. We did the college radio.
Yeah, that's right. We did the college
we did
radio.
Washington State University because we played. What was it? Weedstock over there.
That's right. Yeah, we played Woodstock. That was an experience. The weed festivals out here are like, they're the Hemp Fest is like big and like almost corporate-y, but like it's still like this like just carefully hidden mess that just like everyone's just like I don't know, we'll figure it out. Like you get on stages, but right, like we try to play a lot of festivals and we just talk about what we've got coming up and people follow us on social media and like that's basically been like what we've been doing right now to promote ourselves.
Here's a question that I ask everybody. It's a soapbox issue. If you've never watched the show, be prepared for angst if you answer incorrectly. Are you prepared?
Yeah.
You sound... So, when you release your music on various platforms, are you using a distributor? I.e. CD Baby, TuneCore, Orchard Music, Sony, Warner Brothers, DistroKid.
Yes.
Stop it! Why?
Because they can put it on like iTunes and all that for you, and I'm able to just like upload it, and it's like out of my hands.
But it is out of your hands, which means it's also out of your publishing rights and your royalties. You can post it on iTunes Music yourself. You can submit it and have it posted on Spotify and Bandcamp and SoundCloud and all of these other platforms that all of these middlemen that you're paying in the big world of evil music corporations to do for you, bands can do themselves. And it is really important that people start to do it for themselves because when you pay a distributor you are signing away your rights and your royalties, meaning that if you ever wanted to take that music off of that platform, you, as an independent human, would never be able, even though it's your music, to release it on any other platform again. Every single fucking week we do this show, bands play their music, either live or we play it recorded. And I get flagged every fucking week, and it says, whoops, copyright law, so-and-so has claimed your music, and they're getting the money for what's happening on the YouTube. So, do your research, get your passport. No. And don't use a distributor.
Sounds like a task to delegate to someone.
I can delegate it to you. You hear this? You hear what I got to put up with? No, I'll take that on. I will absolutely take that on. Like, I didn't even know that there was a way to do it besides going through that. Like, I didn't know you could actually just submit stuff to, like, Pandora and Spotify and, Google Play or whomever.
Yes, you can do those things. When we started doing this, we started noticing more and more that we would get flagged for stuff. And I was very aware and cognizant of the fact that, bands that were established, like Deal's Gone Bad and the Stingers ATX, and, people that I had a physical copy of their music, I knew that was probably going to have a copyright law because I'm not operating out of a radio station that has paid the 3 major corporations to ethically play this stuff. But we don't get any money from it. And the bands, when you play that shit, don't get money from it either. And so we started to learn, like, in this digital age, it would be like if you said, hey, Jess, I'm going to pay you $500 for the year to put this on 50 platforms. Okay. Like, you could just delegate that task to somebody and have them do it for you. Does it take time? Yes. But if you're already taking the time to write your music, don't you want to keep it yourself anyway?
Yeah, totally.
So, that's my soapbox issue. I hope you learned something.
You're very passionate about that, but rightly so. Like, I totally got that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Learning something every day.
Yeah, that's right. We learned something.
Never leave this house empty-headed. It's our family motto. So,
what's your family name?
Our family motto is never leave our house empty-headed.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it.
I like it too, and more people need to become educated in different ways. Like, my whole thing with taking back the music industry is honest to fucking God. If every single fucking person said, fuck you, CD baby, I can do this myself, they would go, oh shit. We want people to be enlightened and awakened. Go forth, my little hippie children. Smoke your weed and post your music on platforms yourselves so that you have more money for weed.
We will do many of those things.
So, there you go. I'll calm down now, and I'll ask more questions.
Do you need to smoke some of our weed?
Yeah, we got good weed in Seattle.
I know. We have friends that moved out there. Actually, somebody I played in bands with moved out there and lives out there now in Tacoma. So,
Nice.
Our goal is to eventually get out there so that we can visit.
Smell Tacoma.
The Tacoma aroma. Although Tacoma has one of my favorite venues to play.
Oh, they've got a couple awesome venues out there.
Real Art Tacoma, which is run by the dude named Phil, is just like, it does awesome. It's an all ages venue in Tacoma. And we've seen like Madam Mosca there, and we've seen like the Holophonics.
Holophonics had a song.
Be Like That.
Yeah. Holophonics. Their song built in Tacoma.
Be Like That.
Oh yeah, that was
It is Be Like That.
I can't remember if it was one of those bands, right? Like it was that same night that they both played. It was either Be Like Max or I swear to God, I want to say it's
I think it was
Holophonics.
Holophonics.
Yeah, but like they have a song called "Phil from Tacoma," and it's about Phil from Tacoma. Who runs Real Art Tacoma, and it's just an awesome venue. I love Phil. Phil was really cool dude.
Do you guys have a lot of all-age venues out there, or is that like a rarity as well?
Rarity,
Very, very rare.
What happened to these places where we could have music? My God, we need to bring that back too. But I digress.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I know that we're reaching the top of the hour, so let's talk about upcoming shows for you guys and where people can find you and if you have merchandise.
So, our upcoming shows right now, we have on October 17th, which is a Thursday. Let's check on that. Peter's going to be our calendar boy. Let's just make sure that that's right.
October 17th.
October 17th, we're playing at the Blue Moon Tavern with Ska Monkey, Space Monkey Mafia, and somebody else. I can't remember who else. It's a new band from Tacoma. I can't remember the name. It's like Dead People. I can't remember the name. I don't remember. It's like Dead something. It's something, but they sound cool and like they look like they have a great time, and they look like they're going to be a super fun show. Now I have to look them up so I don't have to just be like, oh, I don't remember the name of that other band. We have that show coming up. We're putting together a Halloween show, it sounds like, but it's not. Dirty Tribe. That's nothing like what I said.
Dead People, Dirty Tribe.
October 17th at the Blue Moon Tavern in Seattle. We're putting together something for Halloween. We have a New Year's Eve show booked at the J&M Tavern in Seattle with this like soul funk band called Eric Blue and the Soul Review.
Ooh.
They're like super badass. I think that's everything we have on the radar right now. We do have merch. We have merch. We have like T-shirts. We have buttons. We have stickers, CDs. We've got some other like ideas cooking, but nothing else is out.
We're gonna go a little more hot and heavy on the merch once they're out and get stuff here.
Yeah. You know, like have frisbees and shit, or I don't know, something weird. We've been talking about like weird dumb shit to have. It's just like, oh, dude, anyone would take a lighter. Anyone would take a bottle of
Flask.
A flask, yeah, right. Like we want just odd stuff. There was a band out here called Suburban Vernon that like had the most bizarre merch.
Oh my god, they had a board game.
Yeah, they had a board game that like you could buy that was like up the band, and we were like, fuck man, like their merch game is on
Comic book.
Yeah, they had like a multiple issue comic book like series. It was just like, holy shit, like how do they do this? So we want to get more merch where you can find our stuff. Like we are, as we've discussed, through a distributor, but we are on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, YouTube, like Bandcamp, SoundCloud, like you name it, we're probably
You
on
want to
it.
go directly to, support directly us, Bandcamp is the place to go.
Right.
We also have a website, but that more or less has all those links on it.
Right, but you can find like information about the band out there. I was about to say that I was about to put a quarter in the It Gets Worse jar. That's Mr. Blank. Is it MrBlankBand.com? Yeah, MrBlankBand.com, but it's MISTER, not MR. And
Spell it out.
you got to spell it out. We're educated. You have to spell the whole word out. Yeah, and we have like an Instagram and all that too. Yeah, we're all over social media. Instagram, Facebook.
What's the best platform, like, to reach you guys?
To reach us and like as far as like get in contact with us is probably Facebook.
Okay.
Sometimes Instagram, but Facebook seems to be the most reliable for that.
Good.
Or just email us directly at mrblankband@gmail.com.
MrBlankBand@gmail.com. MisterBlankBand@gmail.com.
That's us. That's those guys.
That's them guys over there.
Them boys.
So, in closing, what would you like anybody to know?
Let's each get something. Here, Peter, what do you want everyone to know? Putting you on the spot, Buster. Just help me get my passport.
I guess other than the fact that there is a good little niche scene here in Seattle. The Pacific Northwest is a little removed from the rest of the country, I'll say. But for all the ska bands out there, there is a good niche scene out here that feel free to come this way and reach out to us, and vice versa. We're hopefully trying to break out more than just go down to California again, to the Midwest and Denver in the near future, if at all possible, and
in the world.
So.
If you get your passport and you go to San Diego, our friend Thomas, who manages Epic 18, will also book you in Mexico.
Dude, that'd be awesome. JR, what do you want the world to know?
We like to have a good time, and I don't know. much weed for this.
You did really well. No one would have ever known.
That's all right if they know.
You know
Not
now,
everybody that smokes too much weed.
you know now, knowing is half the battle. You know, I don't know. What I want the world to know is I'm with you, man. Like, we like to have a good time. We like to just like play shows with cool bands and, you know, drink beers and eat meals and smoke weed with like awesome people. Like, I don't think
people.
Yeah, I don't think we have any, like, we have no disillusions of thinking we're gonna, like, you know, air quotes, like, make it or make it big or like anything. Like, I don't even want that. Like, we just like to
It's all
play.
about the personal relationships and just hanging out with people and having fun.
Once we're having fun, whether it's for 3 people or 300 people.
Yeah, totally. And I also want the world to know that the band as a whole is completely supportive of the Area 51 raid that's happening tomorrow. And aliens, when you're released from Area 51, you can totally come and join our band and use your lasers.
They're gonna be the backup guys that dance and like shoot things. Pew, 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 pew. We're gonna start a band called Areola 51. That's gonna be a thing.
It's called God, look it up.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope that
Thank you.
someday you can physically come play in our basement. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
I mean, if you're adventurous enough, I'm sure we can help you with a tour here, around, and back. So just let us.
It's just about making requests and taking actions, man. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, kind of like getting a passport, right? So.
Kind
Kind of like that.
I'm just a damn passport.
Good. Again, thank you so much. We're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna play your music.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
We will.
See ya, everybody.
Bye.
That was Mr. Blank. I'm Jess the Ska Kid. It's time to take a short break.
I gotta go potty.
And then we'll be right back with their music so you can hear how fun they are. Okay?
Thanks. Oh boy.
Come on and listen.